Drive down any suburban cul-de-sac in America right now and count the trucks. Not just any trucks, the loaded ones. Lifted F 150S Stormtrooper white Tahoes, a matching his and hers Range Rover situation that costs more than a starter home. Manicured lawns, paver driveways, a boat peeking out of the third garage bay, and you think, man, everyone on this street is doing great. They're not. A lot of them are one missed bonus away from a hardship withdrawal and a very quiet conversation with their financial advisor. My name is Nick, and the average new car payment in America just hit $772 a month. 1 in 5 new car buyers is now locked into a $1,000 plus monthly payment. And 36% of Americans earning $200,000 a year still live paycheck to paycheck. This isn't a story about rich people or poor people. It's a story about how almost everyone you know is faking it, and the tells are everywhere if you know where to look. And the most uncomfortable part of this video isn't going to be recognizing your neighbor. It's going to be recognizing yourself. Here are 13 of them. Sign 1. The multi-truck driveway. Not one new truck, multiple, his and hers. A loaded Silverado and a Tahoe, a Raptor and a Navigator. That's not a driveway. That's a repossession lot with better landscaping. Here's the math nobody on that driveway wants to do. The average full-size pickup now costs around $66,000. Finance 2 of them at today's rates over 72 months, and you're at roughly $1,900 a month in payments. Add insurance on 2 new loaded trucks, another $400. Add gas, add maintenance, and you're at $2,500 a month to exist inside those 2 metal boxes on a $120,000 household income. That's 35% of take-home pay going to vehicles that sit in a driveway 18 hours a day. The old rule says transportation should be 10% of gross. These folks are running at 3 times that. That's not rich. That's a car payment with a mortgage attached. Sign 2, the negative equity treadmill. This one's sneakier. The neighbor gets a new truck. Cool. 2 years later, a different new truck. 2 years after that, another one. You think, wow, they must be crushing it. Here's what's actually happening. Over 20% of new car loans in 2025 were 84 months long. That's 7 years. The average trade-in has $7,200 of negative equity. The car is worth $7,000 less than what's still owed. And 27% of underwater trade-ins owe at least $10,000 more than the vehicle is worth. So when the neighbor rolls into a new truck every 2 years, he's not upgrading. He's taking the $7,000 he still owes on the old truck, rolling it into an 84-month loan on the new one, and starting over from negative. That's a $1,000 payment for a vehicle he'll still owe money on when his toddler gets a learner's permit. And here's the part that'll mess with your head. When the neighbor trades that truck in, the dealer doesn't tell him he's upside down. The dealer just slides the negative equity into the new loan, shows him a monthly payment that looks almost identical to the last one, and sends him home with a fresh key fob. He didn't feel the loss, he just felt the upgrade. That's the whole trick. The financial pain gets spread over 84 months so thin that nobody ever tastes it. It's like the credit equivalent of boiling a frog. Every 2 years, the water gets a little hotter, the loan gets a little longer, the balance gets a little bigger, and the neighbor just keeps saying yes because the monthly number stayed the same. By the time he realizes he's cooked, he's on his 4th truck and his first cardiac event. Sign 3, the cheapest house on the fanciest street. This is the classic. Stanley's original research on American millionaires found that about 30% of households living in $300,000 plus homes earn $60,000 a year or less. They stretch to buy into the zip code. Now, here's the part nobody talks about. Once you're living on that street, the street owns you. Everyone has a landscaper, so you need a landscaper. Everyone's kids do travel hockey. Now your kid does travel hockey. Everyone leases new, so you lease new. The neighborhood isn't a neighborhood. It's a spending prescription, and you sign the pickup slip the day you close. The math is unforgiving. To afford today's median-priced home, you need about $126,000 in household income. If your neighbor squeezed in on 100, they've already lost. Everything else is theater, which is fitting because they can't afford to furnish the set. Sign 4. The empty McMansion, also known as the square footage ceiling. You get invited over, and it's beautiful. Vaulted ceilings, quartz waterfall island, 2-story foyer, and then you walk past the formal dining room and notice there's absolutely nothing in it. Just a Nest thermostat and the kind of echo you get inside a Lowe's. The median new home has ballooned from 1,500 square feet in the 70s to over 2,200 square feet today. Per person living space has almost doubled, which is great, except nobody budgeted for furniture. The den has a card table. The bonus room upstairs has a single stationary bike and a yoga mat that hasn't been rolled out since February. They didn't buy a home, they bought a frame. The rest is coming. One Wayfair order on Klarna at a time, and if you're keeping score, that's at least 3 separate signs we've covered where the phrase on Klarna applies. And I promise we're not done. Sign 5. The equity transfusion. 2 years ago, they ripped out the kitchen. Last summer, they redid the primary bath. This spring, they're starting on the basement. Next spring, the deck never stops. Not because they're renovation enthusiasts, because the HELOC keeps writing checks. Home equity line originations grew almost 16% year over year in 2025. And here's the number that matters. 39% of HELOC funds in 2024 went to debt consolidation, not renovation. Translation, people are draining the equity in their house to pay off credit cards and then telling the neighbors they're redoing the basement. Some of them genuinely are, but they're doing it at a rate that was 4% in 2022 and is now north of 9. That's not remodeling. That's a blood transfusion from your house into Capital One, and the house is the one getting weaker. Quick pause. If you're starting to do the mental inventory on your own driveway, your own subscription list, your own last DoorDash order, good, that's the video working. Stick with me, because the next one is where the national embarrassment starts getting weird. Sign 6, the Amazon blizzard and the DoorDash tax. You'll be outside getting your mail and the Amazon truck pulls up. 3 boxes, 3 hours later, another truck, 2 more boxes, then DoorDash, then Uber Eats, then DoorDash again. That's not a house. That's a FedEx regional hub with a mailing address. Here's the brutal data point. Food delivery apps mark up restaurant prices by about 25% inside the app, then add a delivery fee, a service fee, and a tip. By the time you're done, a $40 meal costs $70. Do that 4 nights a week, and you've spent roughly $15,000 a year on the act of not cooking. That's a Honda Civic. You could buy a Honda Civic every year and just give it away, and it would still be cheaper than the DoorDash habit. And then there's the kicker nobody saw coming. DoorDash now partners with Klarna, meaning you can finance a burrito in 4 installments. When the country reaches the point where people take out microloans for takeout, this isn't a personal problem anymore. It's a civilizational one. And the neighbor whose porch looks like a distribution center is usually holding a credit card balance that grew another couple $100 this week to keep the convenience machine running. Sign 7, the Travel Sports Industrial Complex, Elite Soccer Club, Travel Baseball, Private Hockey Trainer, Piano on Tuesdays, Coding Camp in the summer, and on every one of those vehicles a sticker, Proud AAA Hockey Dad, proud dance mom, proud travel ball family. Family spending on youth sports has risen 46% over the last 5 years. Travel baseball routinely runs $3 to $5 grand. AAA hockey and elite club soccer hit $15,000 a year per kid. Here's where the script flips. Only about 2% of high school athletes ever receive any kind of college scholarship, and most of those are partial, but the parents treat the travel sports bill like a 529 plan. They'll skip the Roth IRA. They'll pause the 401k. They'll put 3 hotel weekends a month on a credit card. Because this is the year little Connor gets scouted. Connor is 9. Connor has a slap shot, not a signing bonus. Connor needs a college fund, not another hotel stay in Pensacola. Signed 7.5. The private school pipeline. This one usually rides shotgun with travel sports. Same family, same zip code, same financial bleeding, different uniform. Private school tuition for 2 kids now averages about 30 to 40 grand a year in most metro areas. In major cities, it's 60 to 80. That's after-tax money, which means the parents have to earn somewhere between $45,000 and $120,000 in gross income just to break even on tuition. For the neighbors we're watching, that's their entire second income. Gone. Vaporized. Before a mortgage payment, before a grocery run, before the Tahoe note. And the kicker is this. Most of those kids are heading to the same state universities their public school educated cousins are heading to. The return on investment isn't a better college. It's a nicer logo on the sweatshirt for 12 years. Now, if the family's paying cash and still maxing the 529 in the Roth, fine, enjoy the blazer. But if they're doing this on a HELOC while their emergency fund is $700, that's not education. That's a status purchase with a classroom attached. The kid didn't need a private school. The parents needed a story to tell at dinner parties. Sign 8. The subscription iceberg. Ask the average American what they spend on subscriptions each month. Then they'll guess $86. Check their actual statements, and the real number is over $219, a 3-to-1 gap. 42% are paying for at least one service they've actively forgotten about. The secretly broke neighbor has Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Peacock, Paramount, Max, Apple TV, YouTube Premium, and Spotify, plus a Peloton membership for a Peloton being used as a coat rack, a meal kit that delivers whether they want it to or not, a wine club, a bark box, a subscription razor, and a $20 a month gym they haven't walked into since January 2nd. That's roughly $2,600 a year bleeding out in background charges, most of which provide zero pleasure. It's not the big purchases killing them. It's the small ones that came with a free trial and a really convenient set and forget button. Sign 9, the produce loan. This is the new red flag, and it's the darkest one on the list. Buy now, pay later, Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, used to be for impulse buys, the $30 Shein haul, the weird gadget at checkout. Now, 29% of BNPL users have financed groceries. For Gen Z, it's 38%. 47% of BNPL users paid late last year. 54% said outright they couldn't make ends meet without it. If you see the neighbor's Target cart getting checked out in 4 payments of $40, you are watching financial distress happen in real time. Groceries are, by definition, short-term consumable spending. The apple you financed Tuesday was eaten Wednesday if you have to split the cost of produce into installments. Your cash flow isn't tight, it's hemorrhaging. You're not managing money, you're running a 10-day credit operation against your own pantry. Small pause here, because if you're still watching, it means either you're fine or you're about to find out you're not. Either way, this next stretch is the one that makes the whole video click. Keep going, sign 10, the full garage and the driveway tell. Here's a detail most people miss. Walk past the neighbor's house and notice where the expensive cars live. If the $60,000 truck is parked in the driveway and the garage is shut tight, there's a reason. The garage is full, not of cars, of stuff. 2 Peloton bikes, a kayak that's never touched water, 4 rolling toolboxes of Snap-on gear, a home gym from the pandemic, 3 storage totes of Amazon returns nobody got around to mailing back, Christmas decorations from 2019 still in the front. The truck they financed for $66,000 sits in the weather to protect $10,000 of Costco impulse buys and Temu purchases that seemed like a good idea at the time. That's not an organizational problem, that's a confession. They bought more stuff than the house can hold, and they value the stuff more than the asset they're financing to show off in the driveway. Sign 11, the depreciating toy fleet, the boat, the RV, the side-by-side, the jet skis, the trailer to pull the side-by-sides, the second trailer for the jet skis, a new base boat runs about 80 to 130 grand. A Class A motorhome goes for 150. Boats depreciate 20 to 30% in the first 5 years. RVs drop 20% in year 1 alone. Boat loans now run 15 to 20 years, which is longer than most marriages. A neighbor with 130 grand wake boat financed at 8% over 15 years is paying roughly $1,200 a month for something he uses 14 days a year. That's $85 a day in the water, and that's before fuel, storage, launch fees, and the mechanic who only answers the phone in July. He's eating Stouffer's on a Tuesday night so a boat can sit in a storage lot, earning $0 an hour and losing value by the minute. That's not a hobby. That's a financial hostage situation with a cup holder. Take a second and look at what we've already covered. 2 trucks in the driveway, a treadmill of loans, a McMansion with no furniture, a HELOC bleeding into the kitchen, DoorDash at the door, travel hockey tournaments in Pensacola, private school tuition eating a second income, a wake boat losing value while it sleeps. Every single one of those line items was sold as an upgrade. Every single one of them is a hidden subtraction. And that's the thing nobody warned anyone about. In 2025, the default middle-class lifestyle isn't just expensive, it's a stacked deck of depreciating status purchases, each one separately justifiable and collectively catastrophic. You don't go broke from one of these. You go broke from owning 5 of them at the time and telling yourself it's just what people do. Sign 12, the highlight reel, Klarna edition. Their feed is immaculate. Tulum in January, Aspen in February, something tropical every spring break. Designer haul videos, day in my life reels set to acoustic guitar, and every caption hints at a life that's smooth, successful, and full. Here's what the data calls this now: money dysmorphia. A distorted view of your own finances driven by comparing your real bank account to everyone else's curated feed. 43% of Gen Z and 41% of millennials report it. The wild part, 59% of people experiencing money dysmorphia still describe themselves as financially stable. They are literally unable to see their own situation clearly, so the neighbor isn't lying on Instagram. They're lying to themselves first, and you're watching the receipts get uploaded. The beach is real. The caption is real. The credit card statement behind it all is buried where nobody scrolls, including them. Sign 13, the loudness tax. This might be the most reliable tell on the entire list. The secretly broke neighbor brings up money constantly, unprompted, tells you what they paid for the truck, mentions the bonus, like slides their salary into a conversation about the weather. They're obsessed with hacks, like credit card points, cashback strategies, referral bonuses, and they've got a hot stock tip. Their crypto's about to moon. Their buddy at work is in options, absolutely printing. The largest study of American millionaires ever conducted asked 10,000 of them about their wealth. 0 cited single stock picking as a factor, 75% credited consistent, boring index investing. Roughly the same percentage said they've never carried a credit card balance in their lives, meaning they don't play the points game because the numbers don't work for them. Actually, wealthy people are almost universally boring about money. They don't talk about it. They don't chase the next thing. They don't need to tell you what their house appraised for. There's a loudness tax on financial insecurity, and the person narrating their success at the block party is usually paying it in full. Before we get to who actually has money on your block, one last observation. Notice something about every single sign in this video. Not one of them is about income. Not one of them is about how much your neighbor earns, because income isn't the variable, behavior is. You can be broke at 50 grand and broke at 500 grand using the exact same playbook. The Range Rover just gets heavier, the hardship withdrawal just gets bigger, the story stays identical, only the zeros move. Here's the reframe this whole video has been building toward. This isn't really about judging your neighbor. It's about the system that made this the default setting. A country where the average car payment is $772 a month, groceries are financed in installments, and retirement accounts are being rated at record rates, while household net worth is also at an all-time high. Both things are true at the same time. Americans are richer on paper and more broke in reality than at almost any point in American history. The people you should actually be watching aren't the ones with the matching Range Rovers and the boat. They're the ones who've been driving the same paid-off Camry for 11 years, who still live in the first house they bought, whose clothes have no logos, who never bring up money, who host you at their place because groceries are cheaper than dinner out, and their 401k is quietly compounding in the background while everyone else is outperforming. 1/3 of American millionaires have never earned $100,000 in a single year. About 3/4 have never carried a credit card balance in their lives. They look from the outside like your most boring neighbor, because they almost always are. So here's the picture to leave you with. Your quietest neighbor, the one with the 2014 Highlander and the faded paint and the jacket he's had since Obama's first term. That's probably the millionaire on your block. And the guy with the matching trucks, the wake boat, the HELOC renovation, and the family Christmas photo in front of a professionally decorated tree, he just took a $6,000 hardship withdrawal to cover December. He posted about a ski trip that same week. Wealth is what you don't see. Debt is what you do. And the loudest driveway on the block almost always belongs to the person you should be worrying about the least, because they're already worrying enough for both of you.